Good morning, manatees. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. So let's talk about our Unit 9, Week 1. You have lots in Google Classroom this week, but everything is front-loaded for the entire week. So pace yourself, okay? Everything doesn't have to be done in one day, but that way you know all of the work we're going to be doing for this week. So let's talk about our skills this week. Here's our essential question for our new unit. And remember, you're not starting this new unit until you have finished your Unit 8 assessment. So if you didn't go into Benchmark Advance and take that assessment, then put pause on this video, go do that, and then you can begin Unit 9. We definitely don't want to start something new when we haven't finished the old. So if you're still watching, that's because you did take your Unit 8 assessment and you're ready to move on. And here's our essential question. How do the goods we make, buy, and sell connect us? So we're going to be focusing on making connections throughout this story, okay? And usually in the classroom, I would have a read aloud, an interactive read aloud that we would use our metacognitive strategies to visualize, right? So we're going to do that a little differently when we're teaching and learning virtually. You will have two stories that you're going to have to read, and we're going to focus more on the sequencing and making connections within that story. All right, so let's take a look. Some of our vocabulary is to predict meanings. That means we've got to use our context clues to understand the words. We have new phonics skills, that's our spelling patterns. We have new spelling words here, and I'll go over those in the next screen. Our high frequency words for this week. And here's some of our skills, right? Now it says there's no grammar skill. That's because it's no new grammar skill this week. We are still going to be focusing on some review skills like past tense irregular verbs, right? From I'm going to I went, those kinds of things. Let's see, what other? Or run, running, ran. Those are some past tense irregular verbs. Then we're also going to be going back and reviewing the use of formal and informal language when writing. And here's our comprehension strategies. So these are very important. Identifying the main topic of a text. You will see that from now until the end of the school year now, because that's what you start third grade with. So we want to make sure that we sure can figure out the main topic of a text and the main purpose. So there's the topic, and then there's the reason behind the topic. Okay? Recounting story events. We will be doing a sequencing activity this week, actually, and drawing inferences and comparing and contrasting the important points. So compare and contrast is a heavy focus for us this week, as well as story events, recounting them, sequencing. So after we read our two stories this week, then we will go into completing a Venn diagram, comparing and contrasting those two stories, as well as recounting the events from one of those. You'll get to choose. All right, so let's move on. Let's take a look at what we have now for our Unit 9. How do the goods we make, buy, and sell connect us? Our vocabulary, the word is sawmill. Notice it's a compound word. Handmade, indoors, nearby, strawberries, declared, delectable, delighted. Some of our high frequency words: able, behind, carefully, common, easy, fact, remember, sure, vowel, whole. And our spelling words for this week: friendly, funny, happy, likely, lucky, messy, neatly, quickly, rainy, slowly. All right, so here's our I cans. So we can share what we already know about buyers and sellers. We can generate questions and ideas with my peers, which is what we will do during our virtual classroom today. And we can read informational text about how a good is made. We can identify and annotate sequences of events. We can read at appropriate rates. And we're going to recognize how the spelling of a base word can change when we add an ending such as ed. All right, and then finally, we can read informational text about buyers and sellers. We can annotate those key details. And we can use details to determine the main ideas in the text. And we can definitely share and build on our ideas with a partner. And we will do that today in our virtual class meet. All right, so let's take a look at the stories. These are the stories we're reading. We'll read Fresh from the Market in Benchmark Advanced. So you're going to read this story. It's quite a long story, and we'll begin part of that today. And then you will read Goat and Bear in Business. And this is also a longer story. You don't have to worry about Baker's Dozen or anything yet. Okay? So Goat and Bear in Business and Fresh from the Market. When you've finished reading those two stories, in your Google Classroom, you will see a link to two activities. One will be the Venn diagram, and you will compare and contrast what is alike between Fresh from the Market and Goat and Bear in Business, and what are things that are different. And then in the second activity, it will be a sequencing activity. And so you will choose either Fresh from the Market or Goat and Bear in Business. And you're going to have to sequence the events first, next, then last. Okay? And recount those details in your own words. All right? All right, my friends, have fun with your work today, and I will see you all very soon.